Welcome to DC2B Revolution, helping chiropractic students think big in order to live large. I'm Noah Volz, and today I'm here with Dr. Jeff Langmaid. He's a chiropractor, but not only is he a chiropractor, he is the creator of the Evidence Based Chiropractor and Chiro Office Coverage. He also is the author of Marketing Chiropractic to Medical Doctors. So, Dr. Jeff Langmaid, thanks for being here.
Thank you. That sounded impressive. Now I got to live up to it. So thank you. I'm happy to come on and jam on stuff and see if we can get some great information out there. So thank you.
Yeah, perfect. I'm really glad you're here. And yeah, in my mind, it is impressive. I feel like what you're doing in the chiropractic world is very nuanced and very unique. And I'm excited just to talk to you more about that and to learn more. And I actually wanted to start with the Chiro Office Coverage and talk a little bit about that, because I know as a student, I've got about 1.5 years left. One of my biggest concerns is, am I going to find the right position for me where I can offer my authentic offering and really work with the team that I want to work with? So I wonder if Chiro Office Coverage has any systems in place to help with long-term placement, employment, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of students and a lot of chiropractors even that are already out there, struggle with, is finding their place, finding their niche, and finding if they're not ready to start a practice, or maybe just for a variety of reasons, it's not the right time for them. Sometimes it can be slim pickings as far as finding what's a good situation that makes you feel like you're doing good, getting paid well, and ultimately having a good time, which is helping people, which is what it's all about. So Chiro Office Coverage is it's still in the growth state right now. So I think it's a great opportunity at chiroofficecoverage.com. But if any student wants to go there, it's completely free to kind of get your information in our tank, so to speak. So we ask a little bit about, how many years you've been in practice, your techniques, etc. And there's a little thing where you can certainly select, hey, I'm a student, but I'm graduating in X months, or I'm graduating December of this year, whatever the case may be. And it's a great opportunity to kind of put your name in the tank, because then what I do on the back end is connect you with the right opportunities, the right fit. And I want to make sure, from my perspective, that the practice doc and the coverage doc, whether it's 1 day, 1 week, or 1 year, we do it all. We want to make sure it's the best fit, because that's what it's all about, because everybody should be happy with the situation and the arrangement. So I try to do as much of the vetting and kind of the behind the scenes work that nobody loves to do. I try to take that off everybody's plate and just make it easy for chiropractors to connect and find their perfect partner ultimately in a practice, whether, again, that's for a half day or whether it's for a half a career. That certainly is our goal. And now's a great time, because Chiro Office Coverage is really just getting off the ground. So I'm really building those databases and those tanks right now. We're getting ready to do a lot more of the connection as time goes on. So that's Chiro Office Coverage in a nutshell.
That's perfect. I feel like you're doing a lot of kind of that back end work. And, I feel like, Chiro Office Coverage, for lack of a better word, is kind of a startup. I'm here in Silicon Valley, and so it's all about like startup culture, lean entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. Do you have a background that kind of led you in that direction, or like what was your motivation to kind of creating this kind of startup culture?
So good question. And a lot of it, no, I don't have a background in it, but I go to more tech conferences than chiropractic conferences. I'll admit that right now. I go to plenty of chiropractic conferences, but I've always been into good design. I've always been into entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, and really how to build and grow a business. Obviously, a chiropractic practice is one way to do that, but I've always been I've had a deep allure for marketing, for communication, and really for, you the same way, but I'm a little bit older than you, where like I remember a time when I did not have a computer, and I remember getting a computer and being like, this is crazy. Like, you can connect to the internet, and it was dial up at the time. So I've always been super into the connection. I've always been really into technology and the tech-driven world, but I never had an affinity for like engineering or anything like that. I just naturally went towards health. But I'll be I don't know if I've ever told a story, but I remember when I first came out of school, I was kind of working as an associate and seeing a bunch of patients. The clinic owner went to go climb Mount Everest. So it was 120 visits a week from my first week of graduating school. Totally crazy. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did the best I could. And I remember kind of thinking to myself, like, this is awesome, but man, I would love also not to necessarily have to be bent over a table my entire life. And I said, maybe there's an opportunity here to meld my passions, where it's like I can serve chiropractors, be a chiropractor, see patients, but also, wow, there's so much opportunity for modernizing what we do, whether it's communication, whether it's patient acquisition, whether it's coverage work, all of that I just saw as huge, like, it's like pie in the sky. So then it was really throughout the course of many years finding what fits me, what suits me, what can I speak to, and all of that fun stuff for what of those made sense.
Yeah, let's go into that modernization a little bit more, because the reason I found you is the Cairo Sushi Summit. I feel like they're working hard to really take chiropractic out of the Mercedes 80s and bring it into the 21st century. And so what you're doing with evidence-based chiropractor, I feel like, is modernizing chiropractic. Can you talk a little bit about that, and like what the big mission vision is for chiropractic through that platform?
Yep. So what I would say is that my personal mission within chiropractic is three things. And I say this to the CEO of the company I currently work for, to myself, and to all of the members of the Evidence Based Chiropractor and everybody out there. My goals are increase chiropractic utilization, be a facilitator for better, higher quality jobs for chiropractors, and also direct a nationwide conservative care program. Those are my three personal mission and goals, all while highlighting what we do with the chiropractic adjustment. So my great-grandfather was a chiropractor. I am tried and true on the chiropractic adjustment, and it's all about, in my opinion, highlighting that, and the breadth and depth of research have never been better. So what I saw was a huge opportunity in terms of interdisciplinary communication. Like, MDs and DCs just don't have it going on. Like, you look at a PT office, if their MD referrals were cut off, they would close tomorrow. Chiropractors have succeeded and thrived in spite of the fact that very few of us statistically have great relationships with other providers. A lot of that's due to the baggage of generations of yesteryear, but it's a new day. But we haven't caught up with that new day yet. So the evidence-based chiropractor is really all about a modern connection system built upon chiropractic science and chiropractic research, where DCs can connect, I don't care if it's MD, DO, midwife, doula, whoever, with other healthcare professionals, and actually systematize it, have a lot of it online, and a lot of tools and resources to make it happen.
Perfect. So I can't help to think, like, as a student, I'm not sure how every school does it, but our school is pretty hands-off in terms of helping us get patients into our health center that we can actually work with in order to get our numbers. And so I could really see like something like what you're offering benefiting me and helping me like start to create those interdisciplinary relationships as a student. Do you feel like that's an appropriate application? And what what would you recommend to a student like me using it that way?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's very appropriate. I mean, I think you got to be careful. I mean, obviously, as a student, you want to stay within the framework of the university and what everybody's comfortable with when you're promoting yourself. And as you said, every school is a little bit different. But at the evidencebasedchiropractor.com, there's actually a student program where it's completely free. So, and the students get the monthly research that I give the members, but they just get it not white labeled with their name and information, but it's still the same information that the members get. So I think it's still a great opportunity. I mean, bridging those, just as you find out, as you've kind of alluded to, hey, I got to go out and kind of figure out how I'm going to have patients come in and, people that need my care. I think it takes practice, right? And I'd say the same thing happens for communication with other healthcare providers. If you love sports medicine, go hang out at the local high school, the local college, see who the sports med doc is, and tell them, hey, I'm a chiropractor in the student clinic, and start the conversation. There's a very systematized way to do that. I'm like going very high level. But if you're into pregnancy care, go meet midwives and doulas, go to the local birth group. I mean, I think it's never too early to start, getting those sea legs under you, so to speak, and you're only going to get better at it the more that you do it. So I'm all for starting as soon as possible. And I think the easiest way to do it is based on the research. You don't need to have 20 years of experience or this massively charismatic personality, and sometimes it's tough. You got to build your clinical confidence and certainty as you go. But when you have some nice research that sits behind you supporting, which we all do at this point, regardless of your technique or practice style, it just makes it a lot easier to facilitate the conversation.
Yeah, completely. And the examples that you referenced were really kind of these face-to-face examples, which I completely agree with you. I think that's the most potent, but also with your kind of background in technology and your willingness to really focus on, user interface and design and all of that sort of thing. What role do you think that technology in terms of social networking and video content and even, as texting and email or whatever it may be, what role do you feel like that plays in this kind of interdisciplinary world that it didn't play before?
That's another great question. So I'm going to answer that in two parts. Number one is that the unfortunate truth is the healthcare system is like 10 to 15 years behind everything else. So there's a certain aspect where the technology from a healthcare communication perspective is still catching up to what is viable and real to all of us day to day with our phones. So it's just a lot of the healthcare industry is slow to catch up to that. So I think promoting through video, promoting through Facebook video, the algorithm is very favorable towards it, all that fun stuff. That is all good. It plays a little bit of a backseat when you're speaking to other physicians because there's just nothing that beats the three legs of the referral stool, as I call it, which is monthly research, sending accurate case notes, and going through in-person meetings. So those three things are non-tech driven by and large, but they're just tried and true. I think where the technology component comes into play is it has to be, all of your communication should be beautifully designed. All of your communication should not be bloated. It should be efficient. And certainly from a transmission perspective, I get it out through technology-driven means to all the doctors. So you're not waiting for a packet from me in the mail. And so I see it more in terms of that. But the second part of that, and I won't go too long on it, but something that is very timely that we're talking right now is that from a patient perspective, just this week, I launched the Smart Chiropractor, which is the smartchiropractor.com, myself and Dr. Jason Deitch. And that really has Facebook Live video. It has done for you social media graphics. It has in-office handouts, reception area videos, all that are done weekly and monthly. So it's patient education for 2017, tried and true, based still off of research. So that's a broad spectrum right there, but that's a little bit of the background as I'd see it.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, the work that you're doing really to bridge that gap, because we're talking all the time about, how to make chiropractic more accessible. And, and there's this kind of push-pull of are we in the medical model? Are we not in the medical model? And I feel like nobody's really quite certain, but like you said, conservative care for everybody, making that this conservative care program. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's so important for, chiropractic going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and you and I were just kind of talking pre-roll, I was speaking in New Jersey this weekend going over some chiropractic research, and I would say, really the top 10 papers that everybody should know about. And I'm like, there's 650 chiropractors in the room. I'm saying, who's heard of this study? It's an award-winning landmark study, and one hand goes up. And it's how do we expect the other providers or our patients or prospective patients to know about this stuff if we don't know? So I think it all starts with us learning the information. And as a student, that's tough. But I think when you can get the information on the science that backs up the care, then you can find creative ways to make it engaging and distribute it to your audience. And that's where the technology ultimately comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. So, I know that students are definitely want to get on board with the evidence-based chiropractor. And yeah, I'd love to have you and maybe Jason Deitch come back on the show and talk more about the Smart Chiropractor as you guys start building that momentum, or to help build that momentum. But how do students get involved? What's the best way to get in touch with you and to really help this vision and mission that you've laid out, expand kind of from the younger generation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty easy to find, the evidencebasedchiropractor.com, CairoOfficeCoverage.com. I'm also on Instagram, Evidence Based Chiropractor, YouTube, the Evidence Based Chiropractor. So you across all social media channels, you can find me. My podcast comes out every Monday morning. It's research and science and the time, marketing as well, and the time it takes to get to your office or the student clinic or the outpatient clinic for that matter. So it's 15 minutes every single week. Check that out on iTunes. You can always email me, Jeff at the evidencebasedchiropractor.com. I respond to every single email. You can shoot me a message on Facebook, the Evidence Based Chiropractor. I'm super easy to find. I'm here to help. And if anybody has any questions, check it out. If there's anything that you feel that resonates with you, ask me a question, sign up, learn about it. If you feel like something else might better suit you, ask me, because I probably know somebody that can help in that case. So I'd encourage everybody to reach out.
Yeah, that's perfect. And, that's the joy for me of doing this show, is just like, creating those connections and creating that community and allowing people to find who it is that can really serve them in their authentic expression of chiropractic. So thank you. So this has been a production of DC to Be Revolution, helping chiropractic students think big in order to live large. Dr. Jeff Langmaid, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, so if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave some comments below. Would love to hear from you, love to get the conversations, keep the conversation going. And thanks for watching.